Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ikhlaq Ahmed. My registration number is 132. I am from mechanical section C. In this video, I am going to explain the function on the different parts of the carburetor. Please focus on this carburetor. A carburetor is a device which automatically mixes the fuel with the air to produce a combustible mixture of the gases which we supply to the IC engine for combustion. So this is the carburetor in my hand. This carburetor is installed on the Suzuki Bolan engine, and this is the single barrel carburetor. Here you can see this is the main barrel of the carburetor. First of all, I will explain the different parts of the carburetor. After this, I will explain their functions. So starting from intake side, this is the main intake side. In intake, there is a choke is installed. This is the choke. We can operate it by this mechanism. Okay, this is the choke. These are the different holes. These two holes for the fuel chamber in the fuel to produce the atmospheric pressure in the fuel chamber, because when air passes through these two holes and goes inside this fuel chamber, and this is the main fuel chamber. So air from these two holes goes directly to this fuel chamber to produce the atmospheric pressure on the fuel. After this choke, inside the carburetor, if you focus on the video, I think it is not clear so much, but inside the this after this choke, there are basically two venturi. One is the main venturi and other one is the boost venturi. Main venturi, outside dia. This the outside nozzle or the outside dia is basically the main venturi, and inside this there is a tube which I think you can't see in the video due to the limitations of the camera resolution. But if you practically see, there is a tube inside this, and this tube is basically the boost venturi. After this boost venturi, on the other side or the exit side of the barrel, there is a throttle valve is installed. We can say it as a throttle plate. In some books we say it as a throttle valve. And close to this throttle valve, there are two very small orifices. One orifice is for idle mixture and other one is for transition orifice. The first one is called idle orifice and the second one is called the transition orifice. Okay, and this is the main fuel inlet. Fuel from the tank enters through this pipe and goes directly into this fuel sump and also to the inlet of this accelerating pump. Okay, its passage is very simple. From this it comes down fuel, and here it is divided into two directions. One is in this direction and other simply goes down, and the fuel will diverts in this direction. It comes basically to this point. There is a small needle valve here which is basically used to control the fuel level inside the this fuel chamber. So your fuel basically comes through this hole inside the chamber, and the second passage is through this hole which you can see in the video. Through this hole it goes to into this hole, and from this it goes into the inlet of this acceleration or the accelerating pump. Okay, from this accelerating pump, then fuel comes out from this hole and enters into this and then into the main barrel. These are the floats. Basically, you know that there are three different types of the carburetors used. One is the float feed type carburetors. Other is there are two other types used, but this is basically the float feed type. In this, floats are basically used, and these also control the level of the fuel inside the fuel chamber. This is the main jet orifice. ये आप देख सकते हैं, मैं इसको खोल के भी आपको थोड़ा दिखा रहा हूँ. Okay, this is the main jet orifice, and fuel from this main jet orifice further divides in two directions. One goes simply directly into the main your boost venturi, and the second one, you can see this is extruded portion of this tube and the fuel also goes in this direction, and this fuel goes to the this portion for idle mixture or idle mixture. Okay. And the second thing, now I am going to explain you this function of these floats. These are basically the two floats which control the level. So I am trying to open it so you can better understand this. These are basically the floats. These floats are used to control the level, and this point of the float frame, it basically touches with this needle valve, and this needle valve is basically open or close the inlet of the fuel to this chamber. So this is the needle valve. You can see, I think not so much clear, but okay, later on I will explain further. And second thing, these two holes you can see, one is this, I think it is again not clear in video, but okay, these two holes are basically used to produce the atmospheric pressure over the fuel tank. This is the gasket. You see in black color, it is a rubber gasket which is used to basically, 1 minute, I will try to open it out. This is gasket. You can see its function is to basically seal the fuel chamber so that no leakage should happen. Okay, after this, I've told you that this is the accelerating pump. It functions when we suddenly accelerate our engine. At this point, this pump basically for very short interval, it adds extra amount of fuel inside the main barrel. So its inlet, I have already told you, from this side, and its outlet is through this main tube and enters into this, and this main this small orifice, this further goes directly into the main barrel. And if you can, I think again not clear, so it's but you can say that this main barrel then opens into this main fuel main barrel. After this, this is basically your emulsion tube, or you can say in this tube fuel goes from this side, and the air coming from this small hole, central hole, it also goes straight through air, and then it enters inside this emulsion tube. Here fuel, due to this small quantity of air, is atomized, and this atomized fuel then sprays directly inside the boost venturi. And boost venturi, there are small tube, we can say it as a capillary tube, some say it as a spray tube, but in spray tube there are 2 to 3 holes are available, and from these 2 to 3 holes actually fuel comes out, which is basically now atomized, and we atomize the fuel to prepare a very good mixture inside this venturi tube. This is the basically two mechanism or linkages. This mechanism is used to operate the throttle body or throttle valve. So its setting at the idle position is done by this screw. This screw is used to adjust the position of this throttle valve or throttle at a specific location, even when there is no push by the driver on the accelerator pedal. This is the main adjustable setting screw. Okay. This is idle adjustment screw. Basically it controls the entry of the mixture inside the barrel at the idle condition, because at idle conditions we require rich mixtures, and the parts, I think most parts I have already explained.